right here on WLEO, worldwide listening, entertainment online, 26.7 on your internet radio dial. We are live with the Real Talk with DaGuru. It is me. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing well. Um, I should be broadcasting right now on WLEO and Facebook and all those good places. So I want to welcome everybody who is in here and that is listening. Welcome, welcome. All right. So I want to talk about uh, stuff that is happening in the world today. If you've been living under a rock, uh, Mr. Robert Kelly was convicted on yesterday of 8 counts of. Let me get it together. He was charged, let's see, trafficking and racketeering. Yeah, Mr. Kelly. Um, I just don't. Let me get my stuff pulled up here. So Mr. Kelly was convicted yesterday of uh, 9 counts. Was it 9 counts altogether? I think one count was. Hold on, I'm gonna get it together here. Hold on, because it's just the charges that he was guilty was the charges that he was convicted of is absolutely atrocious. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have been following the R. Kelly case. Um, Jay Hamilton on Facebook, one of my closest friends, he had some amazing commentary during the trial. And if you don't follow him, please go back and follow that brother and get some amazing commentary during the. He's an attorney, so he is a voice in the law enforcement arena. So let's talk about R. Kelly, man. I mean, those of you that is on Facebook, thank you. Put your name in there because it doesn't give me a name. It just says anonymous Facebook user. So if you're just watching me on Facebook across on my personal page, the Real Talk page on Facebook, and WLEO page, make sure you put your name in the comment first. That way I know who I'm talking to because it just says, like I said, on Haps, it just says anonymous Facebook user. But hello. So I'm thinking that's probably Richard from London, UK. If that's you, thank you, sir, for chiming in. Shout out to E Digger, first of all. If you just caught the afternoon flow, he did an amazing job. Thank you for doing that, sir. And if you have not yet listened to the afternoon flow with E Digger, please go back and do that, man. Download the WLEO app, and you'll be able to catch that. Hey, Tasha, what's going on? I didn't know that was you. Hey, how you doing? Okay, so if you guys would do me a favor that are watching, please share the broadcast out if you're on Facebook. Please share the broadcast out across your timeline because I'm interested to hear what people are thinking about the R. Kelly conviction now because R. Kelly has been doing this for a mighty long time, and he was actually caught up some time ago, and he got off, and so now he has gotten, um, he's gotten caught, and now he's facing many decades behind uh, bars behind what has happened and what he was convicted of. Now, if anybody watched the Surviving R. Kelly, um, okay, because my Apple Music is not doing what I want it to do. Okay, so if anybody watched the Surviving R. Kelly special that was on, I think it was Hulu a couple of years ago. If you guys watched that, it just gave you a glimpse of what he was doing to these young ladies, how he was abusing these young ladies, and taking their phones and grooming them at a young age, and it makes you wonder, like, what, who are the people that was handling him? I don't think that R. Kelly is the only one that should be caught up in this. I'm gonna be 100% accurate. And if anybody watched the survivor R. Kelly probably agree with me on this, and maybe you don't. I mean, I don't know. So if you're watching this and you're able to comment, please comment. I want to hear what the people are thinking, because I'm telling you, man, some of this stuff was just, you know, who was feeding this brother? The people that were feeding this brother should be just as guilty and convicted as this young man. And maybe I'm wrong about that. So I'm interested to read comments. I'm trying to get some music here because I hate talking to just blank air. So bear with me just a second. So, but while you're in here and you're doing that, uh, let me know what you are thinking. Hold tight. I'm almost there, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's connected. All right. So hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. I'm trying to get some music here. As soon as I get that, I'm gonna get into it. He did not act alone for sure. I don't believe that he was just, I'm not convinced that the people that were people that were rocking with him and feeding him, I think, should be just as convicted as this brother. Okay. I like it. Okay. So yeah, I just don't think that he should be the only one rotting in prison behind this. Now, if you think back to R. Kelly, now when this stuff first started coming out, and people was like, okay, we have to learn how to separate the man from the music. Okay, and you know, I almost can go with that a little bit, but how can you even if you try to separate the man from the music? How do you get past, especially if you've heard all this stuff, how do you get past the fact that what he did to these young women? And and as the this last trial played out, it wasn't just young women. He was doing young boys too. Now, don't get it twisted. Everybody rocked R. Kelly. R. Kelly ran R&B for years, right? For years and years and years and years. And there were so many. I can guarantee you, about 40% of the population, excuse me, was probably conceived on an R. Kelly song. You know, what I'm saying? And that's one thing. But the devastation that he caused to these young ladies. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine that being your daughter, or even being you? I mean, and there's somebody who's watching uh, that probably has part of the Me Too. This is because this conviction of R. Kelly is the biggest thing that's happened since the Me Too movement, and we finally have stood up, and we've taken um, protection over our young lady. The women are finally saying, okay, well, they finally see what we see. They're finally doing something. They're finally trying to protect us and everything. And I think, there are a lot of pissed off people that is mad because R. Kelly got convicted. Me personally, just in case you guys want to know, and I'm going to get into it tonight with my fellas on the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. We will do that live tonight. So we talking about R. Kelly tonight too. So me, Kev, Quinn, and E. Digger, we're going to really chop it up this evening. And we're going to talk about because it's stupid, right? How does everybody musically? Anonymous Facebook user, not sure who that is, but make sure you put your name in. Musically, he's great. He couldn't fight those demons he had morally. That I totally understand. There's no denying that R. Kelly was a musical genius. There's no denying that. He made so many hits. Now you ain't heard nobody say nothing about doing a versus against R. Kelly because there's no competition. Musically though, he was great. Morally though, he was bankrupt. And but where does it begin? Where does it start? Did it start with his mom? Did it start with being because it came out in surviving R. Kelly that he was illiterate and he couldn't read? Okay. So where does it start? Who do we blame? Is there a blame? Do we blame somebody? Do we have so it's a lot of questions that go on. And you think, okay, hmm, you've been doing this, forever. But also in Survivor R. Kelly, they said there was a thing that came out that he was also himself sexually assaulted. Right? The saying is true that the abuse. You have to be careful because they become the abuser. And I guess in this case it's true. It really happened. He was abused by I don't know if it was a member of his a male member of his family or somebody in the neighborhood, but somebody abused him as a child, and this is how it all started. Now I can't. What I don't get, y'all, is that how can R. Kelly, knowing the charges, knowing that what he's done for all of these years, how can he still sit and say that he had no idea what he was doing was immoral? How did I don't and I believe that mental health is real. I do, but there is no way that you have done this for years. You have groomed these young. I mean, you guys have we've been rocking R. Kelly forever, right? We know that man married Aaliyah at 15. We know that, right? So this it's not really a surprise, or it shouldn't be. But some folks are really upset. You can't do. I mean, I think about um, the animated show, the Boondocks. You remember that? You remember the Boondocks, y'all? Y'all remember when they did a series or an episode or two following R. Kelly's first trial? What's up? Hey, hey, put your name in there. I don't know who that is. You gotta do that one. But because I'm not sure who I'm talking to, I like to say hello to my proper people. But in that animated series, they did the episode "The Trial of R. Kelly." That's what it's titled. I think it's season two, or season three, one of those seasons. But it did title R. Kelly, and how he walked, and he walked in real life as well. But for some reason, not for some reason, but he could not get past the demons. This time, it was just so much stuff, racketeering. This dude is taking these young ladies across state lines and doing whatever. I think about a story, watching Surviving R. Kelly and his hair braider. Y'all remember back in the day he used to have braids. How he molested her. Oh, Tasha, he did the same. He did the same crime. Tasha said he has to answer that and pay the penalty, no matter who he is. Tasha, I agree. But here's my question: why aren't more celebrities are being held accountable? R. Kelly has been doing this for years and gotten away with it for years because he was R. Kelly. R. Kelly was called the Pied Piper of R&B. Now, if anybody knows any stories about the Pied Piper, who was he? The Pied Piper played his little flute, and he coerced these young kids to come up to him. So even when he used to call himself the Pied Piper, it should have been a red flag. Like, why you call him the Pied Piper? You could have called yourself anything else but the Pied Piper. Yeah, man, your rep proceeded. It's crazy. Well, let's see if I can find some of these charges he's got into, because he's, man, I tell you, this dude. Um, so reading, with the Me Too movement, they did the hashtag Mute R. Kelly campaign. He's got these babies, just babies. Now, I'll be remiss not to mention the parents. You know what I'm saying? The parents, a couple of those parents, I think, served their babies up to R. Kelly because he was R. Kelly. And I think that's wrong too. But do you charge the parents? Do you? Excuse me. Do you charge your parents if you know that the parents are have given the kids up to R. Kelly as a outside person, not really knowing the story? Do you charge the parents too? And if you do, what are you charging with? That's my question. Don't worry, I'll wait. Don't worry, I'll wait. Oh man, because I'm curious. Me personally, Terry. Terry, he was paying the parents off. Yes, they should be held accountable too. You know what, Tasha, I tend to agree. But if they signed NDAs, then they can't really be liable if they sign NDAs. So they really can't. They're kind of free from persecution. Maybe. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. If there's any attorneys that's watching this, maybe somebody can help me. If you have eyes on this broadcast, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. My name is Terry. I am the Guru here at the Real Talk with the Guru Radio Show. My title today is "You Still Rolling with the R? Are you? Are you still rolling with the R?" You know what I'm saying? Um, and at one point in time, people, like I said, people were trying to mute him. That doesn't make him untouchable. I don't know. That man, I did, Queen. I did. I just got. I just sat down in the chair. That is so crazy. Um, I mean, but legally though, I don't. I mean, if you're legally bound by a contract like an NDA or something, can you really be charged with that? I mean, can you? I mean, it's crazy. Now, I think that some of these young girls, I think they lied about their age. And there's a couple of them that admittedly said it, that they had lied about their age because they wanted to be next to R. Kelly. So I said it just means they won't talk about it. So it protects them, not the parents. Protects him, not the parents. Hmm. I do okay. Does that make sense? Did that make sense? But realistically though, you think they're gonna charge the parents? I don't think so. I do I think they should be charged? Absolutely. But are they gonna charge the parents? Probably not. And it's sad. There is no amount of money, Tasha said, that would make me sell my daughters. You know, everybody doesn't live on the same moral compass. And you would want people to be on a moral compass. Everybody should be on a moral compass, but everybody doesn't reside or use a moral compass. And you think about this as a parent. Kind of try to put yourself in the parent's shoes just for a sec. Your daughter or your son is an aspiring singer or aspiring rapper or whatever, and you are approached by one of R. Kelly's handlers, and they say, "Okay, listen, I'm gonna take your daughter and my son under my wing, and I'm gonna give you $200,000 to let me take them under my wing." Or you sign this piece of paper. As a parent, it's because we're always thinking that people don't always have negative intentions, and especially back in the day when I started doing this, society wasn't like it is now. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Not that I agree with R. Kelly. This is Quinn, one of my guys, who's talking about. He'll be on the show tonight talking about R. Kelly. Not that I agree with that. R. Kelly did what R. Kelly did, but where is the accountability for the liars of age now playing victim, the parents and those who contribute to this conduct? All right, that's what we're talking about. Playing devil's advocate here. What about that? It's a good question. Not that we agree with R. Kelly, because R. Kelly was absolutely wrong, way left field wrong, right? But what about the people that did lie? There was the young ladies that lied. They don't change, and like I said, admittedly so. But even with them lying, do you think that's a punishable offense by them telling him, "Hey, I'm 7. I'm really, I'm telling you, I'm 17. I'm really 14." Is that really a punishable offense legally though? But that's the devil's advocate question. And where's the accountability for the liars that said that they were a certain age and they weren't? Now they're playing the victim and those who contribute to this conduct. Everybody has a role to play in this. I think everybody is accountable to a degree, some more than others, but I think everybody is accountable to a degree, right? And R. Kelly is now going to have to pay the piper. Forgive the pun. He's going to have to pay the piper now. He's going to have to walk the green light and all that because he now has been convicted of a crime. 9. I'm sorry. I wish I could pull up his. Oh, I want to get the proper stuff here. Okay, because I want to. Yeah, he was Oh, wait, hold on. I'm not sure why I have my wife in the background. Your house. Okay, so let me say, I love my wife so much. I do. The whole situation is messed up. Shaking my head. I agree. It is messed up. Now, this man is going to go away for a long period of time. He's probably looking about 30 or 40 years behind this. It was um, sex trafficking and racketeering. And if you guys don't know what racketeering is, I pulled up definition. Definition of racketeering is, it's not like, ooh, racketeering is defined as the practice of conducting or engaging in a racket as extortion or bootlegging. So what that's saying to me is what he did was he extorted all these young ladies to get what he wanted. And once he was done with them, he was done with them. I mean, and a lot of these girls aged out, with R. Kelly. He liked them young, you know. Quinn said, a lot of times in these situations, personal accountability is thrown out of the window. Of course it is, because it's all about, at this point, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. It's all about how much money I can keep without having to get any of it back. You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe. And there was so much stuff that came out in R. Kelly's trial that was just unbelievable. And his attorneys were saying stuff like, "Oh, this is a mess of lies. He, he's being railroaded. All of this. Forgive my unbelief, but he wasn't railroaded. He knew exactly what he was doing, every step of the way that he was doing it, and nobody can convince me otherwise. And it's bananas. The Mister I believe I can fly. So he was found. Let's see. Here we go. He was in his trial. He had a jury of 7 men and 5 women. Uh, R. Kelly is 54. I didn't know he was that old. 54. He was guilty of all 9 counts, including racketeering. On their second day of deliberations, Kelly wore a face mask about below black rimmed glasses, remaining motionless with eyes downcast. 9 charges, including racketeering. Quinn said, like, for instance, if I'd known when I was 14, slept with this woman, had a crush on, and she was fine and somebody found out, I'm absolved of personal accountability, knowing she thought I was older. Hey, who that is? Put your name in the comments. I can't see your name here. Because Haps won't let me see it unless you have signed up for a Haps account. So I don't see. So make sure, if you're in here, if you're trying to comment, make sure you put your name in, comma, and then your comment. That way I can address you without saying anonymous Facebook user, because I will. Well, that's too long to say. Just with name, comma, comment. Name, comma, comment. All right. So yeah, I mean, hey Lala, what's going on? Oh, that's my buddy down there in FLA, doing good. Hey mama, how are you? Tell Will I said what's up. Uh so yes, R. Kelly, the defense labeled the women a bunch of groupies and stalkers. Stalkers? How do you come up with that? how do you I mean, I get it. The delusion is unreal. But how do you stalkers though? Some of these girls was living in R. Kelly's house. In that basement. That's what you want to call it that. But how did stalkers? How do we get here? But here's my question to the panel. And my panel is you guys. Everybody's watching. I don't agree with that now. You don't agree with that? R. Kelly is so guilty. Yeah, he is very, very guilty of that. You don't agree with what now, Quinn? I missed that. Um, there are people that are gonna ride with him until the wheels fall off. But here is my question to everybody who is listening and watching me. Labeling them stalkers. No, they're not. They never been stalkers, man. They never been stalkers. They just want to be famous. They don't make them stalkers though. Stalkers are a whole different definition, And we'll talk about that tonight, I'm sure. Um, Here's my question. Now that R. Kelly has been convicted of racketeering and sex trafficking, and you guys, and we have a big pandemic going on in this country with sex trafficking. Now that now that he has been convicted. Hey, Willette, how you doing? R. Kelly been guilty, exactly. Are we still rolling with the R? Does anyone still have, or does anyone is still bumping? I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. Is anybody still bumping that? Play with them stalkers. Now that Quinn said, now there were a few, by their own word, that kept shooting their shot. Exactly. But why shoot your shot? You 15. Why you shoot your shot at R. Kelly? That man grown. That man grown. Yes. Who that was? Comment. Yes. I want to know who that is. Because anonymous Facebook user just said yes. So if you still rolling with the R. This is all his music. Oh, okay. Somebody put that in there. Because there's no bashing here. There's no judgments on here. But I just want to know. I need your name. I'm not sure who that is. That better not be Willette. So put your name in there. Yep, because they still bump the white folks. Still bump the white folks that did it. I don't purchase it, but I will listen. Give me a name. I want to know who that is. Well, I tell you what, personally, me, um, I stopped listening to R. Kelly back. I was still rolling with it after the first trial because, R. Kelly, he was accused, da, 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 da. But to be honest, when I didn't stop listening to his music until I watched Surviving R. Kelly. Once I watched Surviving R. Kelly, I was done. Hey T, what's going on with you? Put him underneath the jail. Lala said, I refuse to support his music. I even turn off the radio if it's on. You know what? And a lot of people have done that. I do that now. If I'm listening to the radio, XM, you know, any of that, or even if I have a playlist playing on my Apple Music, if R. Kelly songs pop up, I will cut it off and turn the other cheek here. I haven't rolled with him in quite some time now. Hey, Willa, thank you for that. And it's, you know, there are so many people. So my question is that people that are watching, why are people that are still rolling with them still rolling with them? So the person that said yes, I think it was Tosh that said that. Tracy that said that. Tracy, if that was you that said listen to all his music, why? Tasha said, I can't listen to it the same way. Fast music, yes. It all seems like you're ready to not be about a grown woman. Yeah. I said, remember, I'm a sexual abuse survivor, so I have no love for him. Same with the other adults. They can't give royalty to the victims. That's a good question, and I'm sure that'll be worked out because that becomes then at that point a civil case. We're talking criminal now. You know, so if they sue him, if the parents go back and sue R civilly, yeah, that could absolutely be something. I can't erase the memories of his music, Tracy says, and a lot of folks can't. I mean, because he had so many hits. He had so many hits. I mean, okay, listen. I am going to start off a sentence, and you guys finish it off. Okay. You remind me of something. I just can't think of what it is. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. His music will because I don't believe in cancel culture, but I'm sure he's going to get canceled here pretty soon. Quinn said, "So let's be honest. You might as well not watch TV or listen to any of his music because the men and women that are famous have done it, and it's just not known, especially back in the day." Lala said, "I will say the parents who knew also should be convicted." And that's what we were talking about earlier. And yeah, part of me says yes with the parents. The other part of me is like, yeah, no, leave the parents alone. Let's convict. I would rather convict the victimizer and his handlers. The parents, I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not that they're innocent in this because most of those parents knew what was going on. Blatantly knew. They knew that you don't pimp your daughter's out like a $2 bill. You don't pimped her out. You know you did this. Now those folks I think should be convicted. But it's a judgment call. because you don't know what people. To me, it's a judgment call because you don't know what the parents are thinking. You know, I don't know. The parents, that's a tough one for me. But the victimizer and the handlers, I think they should get him too. If you grew up in the '90s, you rocked R. Kelly. Of course, you did. I mean, once he left public announcement and started doing his own thing, come on, man. They're victimizers too. They sold their child. I, mm, I don't see Queen. I don't know that. That's the rough one for me, and because you can't really you can't really delve into the parents uh, the purpose for doing it because it could be. I don't think they set out to set. I don't think they set out to sell their daughters. I don't believe that, right? But I do believe they just wanted the best for their child. So they had no idea that R. Kelly was a molester. Probably had no idea that R. Kelly was a sex trafficker. Nobody did. Apparently, for many moons, nobody knew that he was a sex trafficker. So you're, as the parents is like, okay, I want my child to be famous, and this guy, if this guy can, open up a door or get my child to audition, that's probably their intention was just to that. Now, as time is going on, I agree that once time is going on, and you kind of come into some kind of fruition. At some point, you came to it and said, something ain't right here, you know, and that's where I think it gets wrong. But again, you're getting into civil stuff. We're not talking about criminal. I don't think that's criminal. I think it's more civil and moral. Now, with what R. Kelly did and what his handlers did, that's criminal. Okay. Lala said, I knew immediately when the rumors were out with Aaliyah. I personally never rocked with them. Okay. Yeah, everybody know rock with them. Quinn said, doesn't matter what circumstances were, they have some responsibilities. I agree with that. Like I say, I think it gets to more of moral. It's more of a moral dilemma than criminal. That's me. We have to be super careful when we say they sold their child. Right. The verbiage, you have to be careful with that. I don't think they sold their child into slavery or anything like that. I think you know, they got a check, but they didn't say that they didn't sell their child anything because the child got some repercussions behind not repercussions, but things behind it. Queen said, I didn't know when I left the house I was going to run over somebody, but I still got to face the consequences. This is true. Again, that's accountability, right? I get that, but the intentions of the parents, I don't think from the outset was I'm gonna let my daughter be with R. Kelly because he's gonna molest her. I don't think that was the intention, and I get where you're going, and I respect your answer. I just don't think that that's the parent's intention. Now, what I will say is that as time went on, you knew the parents had to come to some kind of fruition and say, yeah, my daughter, something's going wrong. Something's going wrong. When the girl that used to braid his hair got molested, but what I can understand with that particular story with the hair braider was she was already in with R. Kelly. She was doing his hair. However, he decided he wanted to take an extra. Now he never did anything sexually with her, penetration wise, but he did do other things. You know, it's just why was she clout chase? Quinn said, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. I Yeah, I agree. True though. Come on, man. They knew why you seen your daughter with R. Kelly, not your son, but your daughter. But again, Quinn, with the case with the facts of the new case they just came out, the new trial, he was doing little boys too. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. Yet to answer your comment, why you think your daughter with R. Kelly, not your son, but your daughter. Now, again, like I said, parents, you know, as a parent, it's like this. We want the best for our children, right? And if my child aspires to be an actor or aspires to be a singer, I'm going to go to every length to do that. It's just like a parent who has a daughter who wants to be a model, right? They're going to go above and beyond every way to make sure that daughter has the best opportunity to become a model. And I think And they're gonna flip over every rock. They're gonna flip open every door. Excuse me, to try to help their daughter become a model. And I think this is what happened in these parents' cases is that they wanted their, I don't think they're purposely served their children up as sacrificial lambs to R. Kelly. I think that it was a thing of um, they wanted their child to have an opportunity to be a star or singer or whatever. I don't think it was they didn't serve them up sacrificially. Quinn said, "I'm not sending my child with nobody. I'm there with them." Okay, I agree. That's one way of as a parent. Again, you want to do the best for them and, and, and protect them. While you're doing that, and then stay by their side until they're grown. Now, I think some of these little girls was they were young as 14, 15. Now, you know, that's where I kind of blame the parents more. Is like where I don't blame them more, but this is where I blame parents. Is that where were you? You know, it's one thing if you want someone to give your son or daughter an opportunity, that's one thing, right? But to leave them alone with a grown man, no. Now, with my daughters, with Zariah, uh with Brianna, with my oldest girl, when they were kids, they were no way in the world I'm gonna let them go somewhere with a grown man. Just I'm not gonna do it. Tracy, Tracy said Kelly doesn't have a history of putting many people on. He's not an agent. You know what? He did not. He did not. So what made the parents think that R. Kelly would do it? I think it was just the fact that it was R. Kelly. And R. Kelly had interest in your child. Again, not knowing that he was molester and all that. We don't know that. Well, we didn't know that. But it's it's just a shame that it happened like this. Quinn said, I'm not excusing R. Kelly at all, but let's not excuse the parents. The parents they have they're not out of this by any stretch. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking, should they be charged criminally or should they be charged civilly? Or should they even receive any kind of um, compensation for what they put, any pain and suffering? Should the parents get some of that? That's another question. Tasha said, I have an issue if and when the parents found out nothing was said. Now, I'm with you. Tracy said because he was illiterate, people underestimate him. Criminal, okay, okay. Um, you know, even with him being illiterate, do people really believe that he was illiterate, or is that something he just drum up? It's just like, and I'm not saying that he's not. I don't know either way, but it's just a question. Playing devil's advocate, did people say, "Oh, he's illiterate," just to drum something up, just like somebody go kill somebody and then claim insanity? Are they really insane, or is something that's drummed up to keep out of to stay out of trouble? It makes you wonder. Like, is it really that way? Is he really illiterate? I'm not saying that he's not. I don't know, but he's made millions and millions of dollars being illiterate. Now, he had handlers that did all that. That's why he broke. He couldn't read. I don't think he. I don't think people. I don't think he's as broke as people think he is. I really don't. You know, he may be broke from the eye. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think he's broke. I don't think he's broke. Who paying his defense team? Floyd Mayweather. You know? Well, I mean, I don't think he's broke like that. All right, listen, y'all. Quick recap. My name is Terry. I'm right here, the Guru. We'll talk with the Guru Radio Show right here on WLEO app. If you have not downloaded the WLEO app, please go and download the WLEO app. You can catch this show live. The show that was on before me, the Afternoon Flow with Ernest Harris. The Knucklehead Chronicles podcast will be live tonight right here on Haps, and we're going to discuss it with Quinn and Kevin Peoples and Ernest Harris, and we're going to talk about R. Kelly. Now, switching gears a little bit from R. Kelly, because I got about 20 more minutes and I'm gonna get out of here. What is the deal with Kelly Price? Could somebody please help me? What happened with that? What happened with Kelly Price? But we'll get into that. Let me play a commercial real quick because I kind of have to. I'll be right back. All right, and welcome back to the Knuckle. Oh, not that's tonight. Real Talk with the Guru radio show right here on WLEO 26.7 on your internet radio dial, man. This is your boy, the Guru. We are talking about R. Kelly a little bit, but I'm switching gears. I want to get into another story that was big across the airwaves here in the last week or so. Um, Kelly Price. Kelly Price. Just because somebody say just because you can't read don't mean you're going to be broke. A lot of our ancestors were illiterate and became millionaires. Exactly my point. I just don't think he's just because he's illiterate don't mean anything. But anyway, Kelly Price, R&B singer, one of the queens of R&B, went missing. And I called it with Kelly Price. I said that girl ain't missing. She did an interview with TMZ confirming she was never missing. Willette. Thank you, hon. So she has had COVID and she left her home because people were knocking on her door, ringing her doorbell, etc., and she couldn't rest. Okay, it's so much going on, so much to unpack here with Kelly Price. So Kelly Price, those of you who are been under a rock, Kelly Price went missing, air quotes, a couple days ago, and they filed her missing with the National Missing Persons. And it's what all that. So, first story was Kelly Price was okay. She had went through COVID, and she almost died, according to Yahoo News here. She said that she had COVID, almost died from COVID, and she went somewhere else to get some rest. Other stories were out that she went to Vegas and eloped and got married. A lot of people are saying her sister went on Instagram Live and said some stuff and said, I hadn't seen Kelly in over a year or what have you. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't mean anything, right, to me. But according to some of the sources that I've heard and read, that the sister and Kelly are estranged and they haven't seen each other in 2 years anyway. So her even, she clout chasing, trying to get a little something on the side. Her sister said she was missing. Her sister hadn't spoke to her in 2 years. That's the thing, So I believe she was absolutely clout chasing. So Kelly Price had an emotional interview with TMZ. The Grammy-nominated singer revealed that she had flatlined as doctors worked on her to save her life. This is according to Yahoo News with Kelly Price. Kelly Price broke her silence on Sunday. After days of concerns over her safety, they did a wellness check, and they were actually contemplating the boyfriend at one point because the boyfriend wasn't being cooperative. And so they went to do a wellness check, and he would not let them in the house. So they're saying that she was not, there. Quinn said it's a lot of clout chasing in all the situations you're talking about. Yeah, it's a lot of clout chasing. E. Digger said, but her sister was not talking to each other, and sister is trying to clout chase because she has an album coming out. Oh, the sister does? Oh wow, that's crazy. But she can't sing like Kelly. I bet you. She did a interview. Let's see. Let's see if I can find a video. The singer made headlines in recent days. Price's sister maintains suspicion about her safety. I'm just asking everybody to pray, Shannon Ray told Larry Reid Live. Larry Reid Live is a dope dude. If you guys get a chance, go follow him. Radio show on Friday, understanding attorneys is stating that my sister is okay. Well, we don't know anything until we physically see her. If you guys are estranged, you're not going to physically see her. So stop cloud chasing. This is what this is all about. So on the website, it's crazy. On an emotional on-camera interview with TMZ, the 48-year-old Grammy-nominated singer revealed that during her hospitalization, she had flatlined. Can you believe that? Let's back to this whole COVID thing. So let's see if I can pull this up. Hold on one second. So you guys can see what I see here. Okay. Cut the music up. Hold on. All right. She died. That's what she said. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I mean, I really can't. If I oh man, if I died, I just kill me, you know. But she passed away, and the doctor saved her. Okay, let's get back to the sister though. Yeah, so the sister goes on Instagram Live and says, "Oh my God, I haven't seen my sister in physically in over a year. I haven't done this, I haven't done that, right, with Kelly. But you haven't seen her 2 years prior too." Kelly explained why she was not at her home in college. So this is what I'm getting ready to read is an excerpt, right? Because everybody was like, well, "Where's Kelly? Where's Kelly?" You know, you was in the hospital, you had COVID, you got released. Okay, so you almost, according to your own video, you died, and so they bring you back, so they release you, right? So this is where Kelly explains why she was not home. She explained why she was not at home when Cobb County authorities came to conduct the previously reported welfare check. I told you guys a little while ago that they did a welfare check on her, or attempted to anyway. Came to the conduct previously reported welfare check, revealing that she left her residence. I think E. Dickens said this earlier, because fans were coming to the property, ringing the doorbell, and leaving things at her doorstep. I literally left my house because I literally left my house maybe a week ago because I couldn't rest there. She said, I turned everything off. Kelly also disputed claims made by her sister about the timeline by which she last saw each other. It hasn't been 2 months since I've seen my sister. It's been a year, she explained. I haven't been in the same room as in the same room as her since my mother's funeral. Prior to that, we hadn't seen each other all pandemic long. That's not new. So Kelly, out of her own admittance, said his sister's clout chasing. So why are you clout chasing though? I don't get it. Quinn said, I flatlined before too. You need to be to yourself after that. You're mentally not ready for people. And that's what, and so with Quinn and with E and what Kelly is even saying in her own stuff is that I just couldn't do it. It was too many mofos coming to my door. You know what I'm saying? I don't, but I guess I'm confused at how do you have that many people coming to your door? Is your address public? Do people, I mean, I don't get that. You're Kelly Price, for God's sake. I mean, I don't know. Somebody help me understand that. How do you have all these people coming to this woman's door, ringing her doorbell? Do you have a public address? So are you telling me, Kelly Price, that I can get on a plane, come on down to Cobb County, Georgia, and knock on your front door? I can do that. Come on, man. I get, okay, okay. Internet, you can find anything. I get that, Queen. I really do. Somebody go up and pull up Neil Long's address for me. Just because I'm trying to see something. You know what I'm saying? Somebody go pull up Neil Long's address for me. I'm trying to see something. Hey, Deborah, what's going on? How are you? Yeah, because I don't believe that. I mean, I get it that you can go on Google and find anything you want for people, but a celebrity, that's the whole thing. There's privacy and security and all of that, right? Somebody, okay, somebody go and call up Nelly real quick. Go ahead and Google Nelly's phone number. It's not gonna happen, right? So I'm confused at that. I think that's a little sus. You know what I'm saying? Because people just kept coming to your doorstep and leaving stuff. We no, I don't get it. But I do agree with Quinn when you say when you have a near death experience like that. I can absolutely see not wanting to deal with people at all. So if that was the case, why even go back to Cobb County? Why even go back? Especially if your address is public and people can find you. Why even go back to Cobb County? Just hop on a plane. You're Kelly Price. Go hop on a plane. Go to Vegas, like somebody had said earlier in the story. Go to Vegas. Go to you know Yellowstone. Or if you're a Yogi Bear fan, Yogi the Bear fan, you go to Jellystone. Either way, but you have a way to get away. You know, I don't understand. I think that's a little sus. I do. She you know, and so reading it further in this this article on Yahoo News, the Grio previously reported, which is a website, Price's family had called out Kelly's husband, Terrell Babbers, because for allegedly barring them from visiting her home. What they determined as suspicious behavior prompted them to alert the authorities to do a welfare check. So, because the boyfriend was uncooperative and wouldn't let them in the house, they called the cops to do a welfare check. Now, as a family, that makes sense. Okay, because if I go to my brother's house right now, back home, and his wife, well, he's not married now, but when he was married, if his wife would have said, um, you can't come in here. He's fine. He's resting. You know, if she did that to me, I'll do the same thing. I would call and call the cops and do a welfare check because I want to make sure he's good. You know what I'm saying? Now, unless the family think this dude has touched Kelly, has beat Kelly, hit Kelly, whatever, no other reason to call the cops other than they think that he's probably beating on her head or whatever. You know, but all of this, the situations, all of it, it just does not make sense to me. I'm glad she's fine. I'm glad she's okay. I'm glad she didn't pass away from COVID. I'm glad that she, pulled through. I'm glad she's not missing anymore. But I want people to stop clout chasing. What you clout chasing for? If you know you ain't seen your sister in 2 years, if you haven't seen your sister a year before the pandemic broke out, and it's been a year since the pandemic's been here, how you saying, "Oh, until I see her physically," you ain't seen her physically in 2 years? It's crazy. Stop doing that. It's crazy. But she does not look well though. In that TMZ interview, she's been through it, and I would assume she has been through it because um, she flatlining. You got people clout chasing. They talking about your boyfriend. Like, they got so much stuff happening. You know, it's crazy. I don't know. I don't know. If it were you, if you were Kelly Price, would you go away too? Would you go back home or would you go someplace else? That's my question. And what do you do with Shan Ray? I know you said something earlier about she's got an album coming out. Who has an album coming out? Does Kelly have an album coming out or Shan Ray? She has children businesses. Why would she go far? If my husband tells people I am sick and you can't visit, well, it don't mean I'm in harm's way because of my husband. I agree. I agree with you, but you have to see it from the family's point of view, though. If the family has witnessed something and they feel for their family member's life, then yeah, I can absolutely see them doing that. You know what I'm saying? But again, they haven't seen each other in 2 years, so how would you know anything? Going back to your point, if let me tell you something. If I get sick and my wife tell people that they can't see me, they can't come in this house, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want nothing else. And then the internal harm she has to heal from. With suffering from COVID is a whole nother conversation. Praying for her, exactly with it. And that's a lot. You know, the thought of flatlining and then coming out of that and then somebody telling you, you know what, you flatline. That's a lot on a spirit, you know what I'm saying? Somebody tells you, "Hey, Willette, Quinn, whatever, we brung you back to life. You flatlined." Now, take it from a man who has heard the flatline on his own mother. That flatline, that beep, when you hear that, that changes your life. Now, can imagine living through it. Whew, imagine living through it, and now you have to live every day like it's new because you were giving your life back. Gwen said, my mama told me, and she was not well seeing that happen to me. Let me tell you something, Gwen, and while we're here talking about flatlines and things, my mother passed away in 2007. They called me at the hospital, and I heard the flatline on my mother. You're talking about something that doesn't make you well. I was not well for 5 years after, so I was the one that flatlined. It's just hearing the flatline. You watch TV all the time. You watch The Good Doctor, you watch Chicago Med or whatever show you watch, and you see these shows where they're showing the flat lines and people dying and stuff, and the trauma that causes on TV. Live through it in real life. Now be the person that flatline. I can fully see why Kelly looked the way she does. I mean, just like, oh my God. So prayers to Kelly. I'm with Willette. Prayers for Kelly because it's gonna take healing to get past that. To move on normally after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. But I want people to stop clout chasing, man. Stop all that, man. It's just life's too short for the clout chase. And everybody do. My mother and grandma both flatline. That changed my entire life. And still to this day affects my life. You got I need to catch that. That's real talk. Because that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? My mother died in 2007. My auntie, my favorite auntie, died a week later to the day that my mother passed away in '08, and I was both there for them. They didn't. It was almost like they wouldn't die until I was there. If that sounds creepy and dark, I thought the same thing. But neither, both of the two favorite women of my life, my mama and my auntie Burnett, neither one of them they died a year apart from each other, week from the day. But neither one of them would pass away until they seen or heard or felt my presence. And as soon as I came into the room, like my auntie, when she passed away, she was in the hospital, right? And so my uncle, Fuzzy, George, called me up and said, "Hey, you need to get up here," you know. And I get there, I go see Auntie, I hold her hand, I kiss her on the cheek. "I love you, Auntie. It's okay, you can rest now." And I walk out of the hotel room. I mean, not hotel, hospital room. 30 seconds later, the flatline changes your life. It just change it absolutely changes your life. So I feel Kelly, and I feel anybody who's been through that. But try being the person that flatlines, and then hearing about the fact that you flatline. That's got to change your life too. That's got to be amazing. It's really crazy. Whew. Great show today. Thank you guys for listening to me today, man. Real Talk with the Guru. This will be available on audio podcast here in the next couple of days. Uh, Again, be on part of night tonight. The Knucklehead Chronicles. I'm going to have Quinn, Kevin, E Digger tonight, right here on Haps, talking about this very same subject with them because you guys heard my side. Now you read a little bit of Quinn stuff, but we still got Kevin and E Digger we're going to talk about. All right, brother. We'll see you a little bit later on. All right. So you guys be blessed. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate you. Share the broadcast if it's shareable to you. If you're on YouTube, share the broadcast out so that way we can get the word out with the Real Talk with the Guru. And tomorrow on YouTube only, you can make this up with me and Double D. That's tomorrow on YouTube. So make sure you go to the YouTube channel and subscribe because we only streaming live over there. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. Y'all have a blessed day.